say this is that for an organizer, there is a cost to be part of the African Rally Championship. There's the permit fees we pay to the FIA. There's all the international stewards and technical delegates that we bring in. We're talking about each organizer having an additional expense of 5,000 euros or so. Now, it would be difficult to justify 5,000 euro expense with one entry. And so what we are afraid of as the African Rally Championship Working Group is that events might pull out of the African Championship. And if they do, then the championship really does not exist. And that was one of the very big points that was brought up yesterday. Okay, could we have that list again on the screen? Thank you. I think enough is said on this. More will be said in private conversations and discussions. Yves, would you like to say anything, or? A microphone to Yves, please.
Yeah, I don't think it's we have the time to have a long debate on it, but some things were said were not the truth. And first is concerning the Annex G. It was published in 2016 in the Annex G. There's, we need these fuel cells for 2017. Then, okay, maybe the communication was not so good, but for sure it was published in the regulations. Then everybody was able to see it. I have to say also that some countries were able to do it at the beginning of the year and were able to fulfill the regulation. In Africa, in America, in some countries were anticipated and have done the job and were able to have these fuel cells ready. That's the first thing. I was also quite surprised, and I really want that the rally department, and we are ready to work with all the ASNs to identify the number of FIA cars in each country so that we can see which are the issues and how we can do to improve the level of entries of the FIA cars in the countries, and what are the problems. Because I heard that from one country to another one, there is much more cars in some countries, in other ones, but really we want to work with the ASNs and with the countries to try to identify these cars. Thank you.
Okay, good, thank you very much. If I go on in our list, at the present moment in the African Rally Championship, to save cost for the organizer, we had requested the FIA that the FIA observer and the FIA chairman of stewards to be the same person, which is a practice that is done in the Middle East Rally Championship and in Asia Pacific, etc. But we have discovered in this last 2 years that it's too much work for one person to be an observer and to be a chairman of stewards. So we asked for a change whereby the FIA observer and the FIA steward is the same person, and which is already happening in Middle East and Asia Pacific. And then the chairman of stewards would be an individual, an additional individual who can do the paperwork and make sure things are running. That'll be a request that we'll make to the Rally Commission. And then we also had a discussion on race fuels. There are a lot of countries where some people are using racing fuel. This does give them a power advantage. The cost of racing fuels is 5 times that of normal fuel. And I suppose the person who's using it is willing to pay that cost. But we did have a discussion on it, and we said that, you know, we're going to have to continue to allow it because we don't have the technical delegates, neither the equipment, to be able to test the fuel on events. Carlos said that there are possibilities, but we can have a separate discussion about this for testing fuels. But for the moment, for next year's Africa Championship regulations, we will allow race fuel to continue. Okay, that was the discussion on African Rally Championship. Now, if we go on to the, there was an ASN complaint against another ASN, Mozambique and South Africa, that competitors were being allowed to participate without clearance letters or without somebody checking clearance letters. South Africa was not aware of this, and it was the two ASNs were invited that Mozambique should write directly to South Africa and try to sort it out. And, you know, I think Motorsport South Africa will gladly receive whatever correspondence Mozambique can present to them and check on whether this is the case. Statutes of CAMS. Sorry, any questions, anybody? No? Statutes of CAMS. In last year's Congress, we asked Christian to take over the task of putting together a new set of statutes. And those statutes require modification. There were a couple of points that were raised by the FIA. And we have formed a small working group, which is the three of us standing up here, who are going to look at the statutes again and modify them, and then have them cleared by the Secretary General of the FIA, Mr. Peter Bayer, and the legal department, Pierre Ketterer, before we publish them. Of course, there was a comment that we must ask countries to be involved, so we will make a draft, we will circulate it, we will then send it to FIA, and this process will continue. Then we had an election for zone coordinators. Again, Ella Ambrosino and myself were elected as the zone coordinators for the two countries, because under the new document that the FIA has published, and I think will come to the next World Council for approval, the zones in Africa have been divided into the French-speaking countries and the English-speaking countries. And we are looking forward to the publication of these zone rules, because zone rules will allow cross-border participation with easier conditions. And that is very important for Africa, because, you know, Burundi drivers mainly participate in Rwanda and Uganda, and similarly drivers coming down. Now, if you're in all three in the same zone, the participation of those drivers becomes a little bit easier under the new conditions of the zone. So that is very good for us, that, you know, we're all part of one zone. And cross-border participation, cooperation in motorsport becomes easier. Good, that was it. And date and venue of the next CAMS meeting, there were 3 countries that expressed interest in the Congress: Zambia, Mozambique, and Mauritius. But then we were later informed that the next year's Congress is going to be part of the Sport Conference Week, which is going to be held in Sun City, South Africa. So that will be at that time. It's the end of April, early May next year. So the timing will be slightly different to this year. Our Africa Congress has always been in August, but we can have it a little bit earlier. So that, ladies and gentlemen, and President Todd, were the main decisions that we took yesterday. Thank you very much. Any comments from the two of you?
I think all was said.
Okay. Any question? Yeah, Phineas?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to thank the President, Mr. John Todd, for the support he has accorded Kenya and Africa in returning WRC. He was not there yesterday. I did, make sure that we acknowledged your support. And I want just to applaud the President. We can give him a big clap for the support that he has given Africa in that respect. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. But, you know that still you need to deliver the job. Because at the moment, we are ready to put the switch on, but you first need to deliver, and we look on that for you.
Thank you. Any other question? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Alain, Surinder, and Christian. But I just would like to add a last comment. What we learned yesterday, and mainly from Christian's comments at the end of the meeting, is that the region needs a clear action plan. We're here for having meeting, that's good. We are very happy to share drinks and so on. But the most important thing is to have some outcomes and to have clear action plan in order that we can work all together for moving forward in the right direction. We are more or less more than 10 people from FIA here. So we are here for you. You can address your issue, we can talk together, and then we can define clear list of priorities that we'll be pleased to work closely with the Surrender to implement the list of priorities. So now I think we're ready for a small coffee break. Surrender, you want to add something?
I'd just like to request the person who's controlling the slide to put the slide of the YouTube again, because I think it was a long address and we didn't manage to copy it.
Yeah, please, yes. The live streaming, and also you received normally an email from Sonia at the beginning of the session. I know that they had some problems. It's working now, so fortunately after the opening speeches, unfortunately, but all right. So now just you're invited to go for a small coffee break and invite you to come like 10:55 in order that we can start on time for the next session. Thank you very much. So yeah, 10 minutes and come back. You will see it will be some presentation, but after just a nice meeting, table per table with the FIA experts. So it promises to be an exciting session. So see you in a few minutes. Thank you very much. can maybe have a look. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. So we're ready for continuing the program. FI relationship, I mean, you know what it means. And also you have a clear and long description with a chapter in the ISN development manual. I think you got an ISN manual in your welcome pack. So you have an entire chapter dedicated to the FIO relationship. Because FIO relationship means a lot of things. It means that how the ISN can work maybe better in close relationship with us, how you can have access to the range of programs and initiatives that we are developing. And why we have decided to have this kind of session during the Congress is because you need some proximity, and you need to have a good knowledge on the different initiatives and programs that we are developing for you. Because you know, motorsports, it's hard sport, it's very complex sport. You have a lot of regulations, you receive a lot of emails and information, and also if you go through the different FIA website and so on, we have a lot of tools available. And so now what we want to do is really to explain you, to present you the key points, the key project that we are developing now at your benefits. And after the different presentation that will be delivered right now from the different experts, we will organize the few tables with a list of topics, and then you will be able to meet face-to-face the experts and to address your point. For example, to talk with Kate about the Sport Ground program, because that's the big things at the moment, because the deadline is coming very soon. So let's start with the FI relationship, and I will call on stage the speakers. Then you can take a seat here, and we will run the different presentation. So for this session, I would like to call Jacques Berger. So you can applaud him. So he's the FIA consultant. You know him well, just due to the years spent at the FIA and with a lot of responsibility on safety matters mainly. So please, Jacques, take a seat. You have the first, you take the one you prefer. So just Andrew Papadopoulos, the ISN Development Task Force President. So please, Andrew, I invite you to come on stage, take a seat together with Colin Hilton, the Deputy President of the Task Force. Finally, I'm pleased to call Kate Robson, just responsible for the FIA Sport Ground program. And you can sit in the middle because you're only 4. Because me, I stand up. Okay, woman in the middle. So we start now with the first program that we wanted to highlight. So Sarah, just could you please run the slides? Yes. So Sport Clubs Development Program. You know, since maybe you can remind me, Andrew, but when we established the ISN Development Task Force was in 2013.
It was decided in 2012,
Yeah.
and established in 2013.
Yeah. Can we have 2 micro on stage, just in case we want to? Thank you very much, Sonia. And another one as well. Good. So the wish from the President Todd in 12 was to establish a proper group, a proper task force, a working group mandated by the World Motorsport Council to specially work in close collaboration with the ISN and the ACN. And since then, I can say that but it's up to you to tell that and to confirm, but we have changed the perception from the ISN about the FIA. And now we are more close, we are working in close collaboration, and this is thanks to the efforts made by Andrew and the members. And since then we launched many different programs. You heard already about the global training program. A few years ago, we came at the first Congress by presenting you this new initiative. Maybe you can say a few words about the GTP.
The task force, when we got together, we decided that there are certain programs that needed to be doing. The first thing we did was establish the ASN Development Manual, which you all should have a copy. It is the Bible of motorsport, really. It is a reference book that you should reference on anything you do, from safety to event management to training marshals and so on. So please keep that where you can reach it. Those of you who are presidents here, please, it's not just for you, it's for the organisation as a whole to use on a daily basis. So make sure it's on the desk at the office. From there, we established the requirements from meeting everybody through the regions. We have 6 regions. We have so far 4 years of congresses. That there were certain needs in developing the ASN and developing the sport. So we've now established 30 modules on development, from whether it's ASN structure to developing lobbying, for example, through governments and commercialising assets and so on. So it's a fairly big library of modules. It doesn't mean we've stopped, because as the needs arise from the congresses, we will establish new modules and deliver them accordingly. Those modules are available for the RTPs to use. What we do as a sport is universal. You know, it's not just particular to one ASN or to one region. The sport we do is universal, so therefore the training we want to put is universal, because then we have easily transfer officials and drivers from one ASN region or country to become international. So it's very important that we have a universal approach. So that's where we have come. The ASN Development Task Force is represented by the 6 vice presidents of the regions and some other developing ASNs and developed ASNs that we can actually exchange views. So any issues that you may have, please put forward through Frederique and her department, or through Sonia, who's the coordinator for this region, and we will address it at the meetings that we hold 4 times a year.
Thank you very much. And also for the manual, you know, the manual is available in 6 different languages. And if you need a copy for your organizers, your drivers, your, you know, the different affiliated clubs, just send an email to Sonia, and we'll be pleased to send you extra copies if you need to get 20, 30. I mean, that's important to spread the message and to give these guidelines to your different stakeholders. So now we're proud to present a new initiative that we launched with the with the ASN Development Task Force last year. So this results from long discussions and also from the different feedback we received from the ASNs in the different regions.
And through experience, as I said, you know, we have 6 regions, so far 4 congresses that we've had. So over the 24 congresses, we've found that there are ASNs that will continue doing what they do. There are ASNs that need specific help in the structure and development of their own ASN, and maybe the first steps to developing motorsport. Unfortunately, it's not about what you think you need, but what your organisation needs. Firstly, before you can develop motorsport, you have to develop your ASN. You have to have a proper structure in place. So we've developed this sports car development program along the lines of the Rally Safety Task Force, where we will send an expert to your ASN to spend 1, 2 or 3 days in your ASN, analyse what you do, and make some recommendations on what you need to further develop and establish your ASN in a way that you can manage the ASN and the development of motorsport. Now, this is a free service that the FIA supplies to anybody that wants the help. As I said, It's not a matter of how well you do it, but whether you can do it better or not. So that's the reason we've established this, because we want to get more close and personal with certain ASNs that need more targeted help in their development. So how do we do this? You apply, or we identify through the vice presidents that maybe this ASN needs some extra help, and you fill in a questionnaire. It goes through the ASN task force, and we make the decision to help you, in which case we will send an expert to your ASN to understand your issues and help with your initial development, say in the structure and management, but also in the development of sport. We did this year as a pilot. We did it with Georgia. We've sent our Vice President from the task force, Colin Hilton, who is also ex-CEO of the MSA, so a very experienced person in administration and motorsport, to Georgia, spent some time there, went back second time with another expert because their issue was about hill climb and getting young people into the sport, and went back and made some recommendations. In fact, I'd like to throw over to Colin just to explain exactly the process that he used and what he found when he visited Georgia.
Thank you, Andrew. Can everybody hear me? Is the mic working?
Just speak
okay,
loudly.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. It was quite an interesting experience for me because, as Andrew said, having looked after a very large ASN for many years, to go into an emerging country, because Georgia is coming out from under the Soviet regime, so they're still recovering economically from that situation. And I felt the first thing to do was actually get a good understanding of the economics of the country and the ASN. What funding did they have? What resources did they have? Did they actually employ any people in the organisation, or did it run totally through volunteers? To get a feeling first as to what the resources were available. Then I sat down with each of the key people within the management of the ASN and each of the commission chairmen, keeps going on and off this, each of the commission chairmen, race, rallies, hill climb, etc. And through that process, start to build up a sort of portfolio of what their issues were across the different disciplines. From that, once we'd identified most of the issues that they had, it was a case of trying to sort out from those issues which issues could only be resolved by the ASN itself. Because the FIA can't do everything. You know, the FIA can help, it can put some funding in, it can bring in some initiatives. But when you start looking at structure, politics, central funding, they were fortunate that most of their funding comes from the government, from the Ministry of Tourism. So I was able to, with the ASN, to split what they had to do, what were their issues, and what potentially could the FIA assist with. And so from that we produced a report. Now again, it was important that that report and the plan that came from that report is not just the FIA's plan. Because in good management ways, it had to be their plan. It had to be Georgia's plan, their development plan, not just the FIA's. So that plan has been submitted and it's with the task force now, and it's up to the task force to decide with the FIA whether they want to proceed with that plan or perhaps make some modifications to that plan. And that's where we are at the moment.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing this experience. So as you can see on the screen, you have some description how you can activate the program. We want to make it very simple, because I mean then you need to be motivated, because if you want to use this program, you have to complete a simple form, just like some questionnaire, very easy, few questions. Why? Because we need to identify clearly if this is the right program to activate for you, or if, considering the issues, the problems you have, the problem you explain through the form, maybe that's another program that we need to activate for your ASN. So this is important for us to have this explanation through this simple questionnaire. And Sonia will have the questionnaire available. So just write an email to Sonia. Then she will be able to send you the questionnaire. And this questionnaire will be study by a group, a little group of experts mandated from the ISN task force, mainly Andrew, Colin. But this is a quite new initiative, so we will present the complete report at the next meeting we have in October in order to finalize and fine-tuning the details of that. But basically, the first step will be that you will send an email to all ISNs saying, okay, now it's ready, so you can apply, and just you can apply and send us your complete form. Then analysis of the request by the small committee of experts, as I just explained, and the decision will be taken or not, just to activate the program and appoint the right experts for going and visit the ISN and establish what's the action plan, what's the list of priorities. Also, what we want to do is to involve the RTP of the region concerned, because we think that it's important to have the regional expertise as well involving in that program. It means that we'll appoint someone from the task force together with someone from the RTP who could join the FIA expert and make the analysis and to see how we can continue the program and if it's necessary or not to organize a second visit, depending on the different issues and the problems that we'll identify.
So it'll be an RTP or somebody that can help from another ASN that does what you want to do in your development. So if you know you need help, please put the application in. If you're not sure whether you need help, then I think you should put an application in as well. So make sure that we can get to and help you in that area. We are looking at ways that we can further extend our help as the FIA to the ASNs. And I think this is an area, without structure in your management of the ASN, you will not develop your sport. So that is the fundamental first building block of any ASN, is to make sure that the structure and the management of the ASN is there. And this little program is there to capitalise on that.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And finally, just we listed the advantages of this program. So close relationship between FIA and ISN, deeper analysis of the ISN needs by an external expert to address all issues for potential growth, create a solid base for further motorsports development and optimization of the use of the FIA grounds. But as it was explained by Colin, when you visited the ISN, then you identify clearly that it was not necessary to ask for the grants for the project they had, but maybe to change it and to do it differently and have another kind of project which is more relevant considering the situation, the political situation of the countries, but also the situation and the structure of the ASN.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that all the way through it, I was trying to make the ASN think about what is realistic, because we can have big dreams of what we're going to do. But if you look at how many people are there in the country, what's the population? If you take the average population of people involved in motorsport of an established ASN, because of the cost of motorsport, it's quite a small percentage. So you're never, in a country like Georgia, they're never going to have more than about 3,000 license holders, whatever they do, because of the economic situation and how many people are involved in motorsport. So it's just trying to keep a realistic view of what they can achieve over perhaps the next 5 years.
Thank you very much for the feedback. Also, we will have a table at the MidFI family with a sign, and Andrew, Colin will be there for, so come to the table just to the next part of this session and ask your question or express your interest if you think it's relevant for your ISN. So then, now we just move to the next presentation. So just celle-là is there. Ouais, non, c'est bon, ce que j'ai fait, mais ça marche pas. Voilà. Okay, good. I will present you very briefly the FIA Networks platform. First of all, could you please show me your hand? Who's got a password for accessing to the new FIA Networks? Could you please show me your hand, please? Just, okay, don't be shy. Just for me to evaluate. South Africa, you don't have any FIA networks? But normally you should have it as the directory member. So I will explain you quickly. So last year we launched by sending an email to all ISNs this new FIA networks platform. It's a secure and intern and confidential platform, already only available for the FIA family. It's been set up by the IT department as a kind of a social media. It means very interactive and easy to use, and with communities. And I will just show you very quickly how it works. But basically, normally, each ISN, each of the 141 affiliated sport clubs should have received minimum 2 or 3 passwords. First, to each president. Secondly, to the second ranking person, like CEO or general secretary or director of the ISN. And if you have a sport club's correspondent, normally this person should have received the password as well. It means that as soon as you got it, then you can access to a range, to a lot of different documents and information. Because we wanted that you can, it's like a private and secure area. And for example, after the Congress, and you had experience, I think, last year, but after the Congress, Sonia will send you an email with a link to access to the networks, because through the networks, you will get access to the content and all presentations delivered during this Congress. And if you don't have any password, please send an email to Sonia, or just connect it, just go to the link and access and ask the password through the link. And Sonia, during the MIDI-FI family, will be with our computer. I can also do a quick demonstration. So just very quickly, so when you come and you access through your password, you come to the home page, Welcome to the FI Networks. You have a tutorial video here which explains you exactly how it works, but it's very simple. And if you need, if you have any question, of course you can come to us, and we can also help you at distance. Just quickly how it works. First of all, so on the left side, you can scroll down, and if you go to services, then you have all services and different platforms which are connected to the networks platform. You know that through the FIA.com, so the public web page, if you go there, you have a list, and you also have an access to the FIA grant program and so on. But what we wanted to do is to incorporate and to have all of the different platforms directly accessible from these FIA networks. It means that if you go to the networks, then you can immediately have a connection to the sport grant program. You can have a direct connection to the international series, for example. So this is the list of services which are available. But just would like to present you something we are proud, is the a kind of yearbook, so the e-directory. This is the yearbook, you know, the famous blue book at the FIA that you received every year since, I think, more or less 30 years. Now it's an electronic version is available through the e-directory and through the networks. It means you just simply, you go to the country, so it's classified by alphabetic order. Also, you can do a search by typing the name of the country. And if I go to the page of Finland, for example, then you have all information and contact details of the ISN, but also the list of all events which are registered to the international calendar, the different campaigns that you activate in your country, And just below, and also the list of homologated circuits. You can see here in Finland, that's the record we have. And here, this is very important. If you identify that for your ISN there is a mistake or just one contact detail of the name of person is not correct, please send an email to annuaire.fi.com and inform us immediately about the change you have for updating the e-directory, because the e-directory is connected to our Salesforce platform, and so if you don't have the right information, that it has a big impact on all of the other connected platforms. Yes, please. Exactly, that's relevant. So I think I will do like that. Check. I'm happy when it works. So we recognize our dear Christian. So here we have two club correspondents, because it's not a sport platform, it's a really global FIA platform. So you have the administration, so the name of the Secretary General, the different mobility services, the sports events. So this, voilà. This is the key information which are available through the e-directory. So I want to just be long, because we need to have many other projects and programs to present in the morning. But just wanted to show you very quickly the communities and projects. When you come to the home page and when you come to the communities and projects, you have the list of the communities where you are members. For example, you are a member or you are president of one FIA commission. It means that you should be member of the community, of the networks community, with a list of members of the FIA commission concerned. So, for example, if you attend the Congress this week, then you will be automatically member of the community of the Congress, and you will receive a password for accessing specifically to this community. But if you want to be member and just have a look and have an access to other community, then you just click in, because here in blue you have the communities where you are member. But if I'm here, then all communities appear, and you can see that you have community in gray, and that's the community I'm not member now. So I can ask to be member. So I click to this community, because I think for me it's really relevant to be member of the accreditation program, which is managed through the sports division. So what I would like to do is to be member. So I do action. I would like to join this project, because as director of development, I need to get access and to have an access to all of this information. So I do blah, blah, blah. So Kate and Madeleine will receive my request. I ask to join the community, and then they will answer to you if you can be a new member of the community. Also, you have calendars. So then if you have, you are a member of many communities through the networks, and you have many meetings, then all of the meetings will be registered and recorded in the calendar area. So that's it for the presentation. Also, you have all contact available in the community. The only thing I would like to say is just I invite you to consult the platform, to contact Sonia if you don't have any password, and then you will have access to a lot of information, and also we can open some forum of discussion, and a specific community has been created for Africa region. It's already available, And with the help of Sonia, we can create and engage the dialogue between all members from the region. Regarding fuel tank, for example, if you have something to share, or if you want to comment, or to create any new topic, then you can do it through the networks platform. So thank you for your attention. And please meet Sonia when we have the Meet the FIA family starting. Thank you very much, Stella, for your help with the computer. So now the next subject is relating to safety. So Jacques, now it's your turn, and I'm pleased to invite you just to talk about
Thank you, Frédéric.
the new program.
Thank you, Frédéric. I will take the small machine. For those who do not know me, I am Jacques Berger, working at the FIA safety consultant for the safety department. I would like to speak with you about rally safety, which is a really important matter, and also the rally safety task force. As the president is saying this morning as the opening session, we think it's good tools for you to progress in the safety using the rally safety task force. We will go a little bit deeper. I will explain you how this task force is working, and try to encourage all of you to join the task force. So, rally safety is something important. So I put this photo, it's not really clear in the big screen, but perhaps it's bigger in the small screen. You have a quite high-speed corner, right corner, and the public has been put for me, in the wrong place of the road. They are on the external part of the corner, and they will get the dust, the stone, and if the driver make a mistake, unfortunately, it could go on the crowd. So this is part of the risk management, which is clearly mentioned in the ASN development manual, in the page 55 of the development manual. So I encourage you to look at the risk management document which is on the manual. As Frédéric is saying, the development manual is a very useful tool. For your information, it exists also in numerical version on the FIA network. So you go on the FIA network with the password Frédéric explained you, and you will get the full document in numeric version. So you don't need a paper, you will get it in numeric version. In Africa, we think that the spectator safety is one of the key programs, so it's important for us to discuss about it. Unfortunately, I have only 10 minutes with you. I could spend 2 hours, and Mr. Papadopoulos knows, I could spend 2 hours discussing spectator safety with you, but I would not have time. But after the meeting, we could discuss all together, or we could implement spectator safety correctly. Then, okay. Then we will speak about the Rally Safety Task Force, and then Mr. Papadopoulos will speak about the Marshall Training, which is for African country. We think the 3 pillars of progressing on the safety matter. As far as spectator education, I think it's important for you to use a tool we have put in place. For example, the RTPs in South Africa has put in place some. My machine is where? Okay. So in terms of spectator education, we have at the FIA and we as the RTP put a lot of tools into process for spectator education, using some videos, using some cartoon, using some program, using everything. So we think that 80% of your public and so on does not know that a car could be dangerous. So it's important for them to educate them and for them to feel that if the car goes out of the road, it could injure all the people. As we could see on the photo, there is a selfie of the selfie. The guy is back to the road, and he does not understand that if the guy make a mistake, if something happens, he will be injured or fatally killed. So it's important that you, within your country, give a proper knowledge to the spectators. Also, we think that in Africa, it will be good to put in place a go and a non-go area. You, as the expert of the rally, when you are building the rally, knows perfectly where is a good place to put the people, where are the place which is not possible to put people. In the escape road, when there is a T-junction, nobody in front, or in a high-speed corner, when there is a risk for the car to go off, then do not put any people. At this stage, when you are creating the go and the not-go area, create with a tape a place where you could put the spectator in the safe place. They will be happy to be all together. You could provide them some video, some toilets, some cooking. You could have a contact with people who could bring some drinks or something like that. So it could be a win-and-win strategy so that you gather the people in a safe area. Any question? No question. And also the safety plan. The safety plan is a really important matter. Without a good safety plan, you will not have a good rally. So in advance, look at your stage and look how you could make your stage as safe as possible with a safety guy and with a clerk of the course. So again, we could discuss all together about that. Question? No. Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Jack. I'm inquiring, have you ever had a chance of attending some of our African events? Because there are a number of issues to be, you need to have a bit of experience on ground, especially my country.
For your information, I was born in Madagascar and I live in Madagascar for a long time, so I have a chance to make some rally over there and to make myself some rallies. And I've been to some rallies also, and we will go to Tanzania next week as a rally safety task force. Let's discuss after that on the spectator education. It's an important matter. And if I did something wrong, please tell me. So the machine is... where is the computer? Okay. So before to go to the Rally Safety Task Force and to explain you how the Rally Safety Task Force work and how we could implement it, I would like to introduce you the Closed Road Commission. The Closed Road Commission has been created in 2011 with Mr. Ari Vatanen as president of this Closed Road Commission. And this Closed Road Commission is looking after all the safety matter for non-circuit events, such as rally, cross-country, hill climb, and other speed competition. It's important that we have a feedback of Africa in this Closed Road Commission, and I must admit that we have very few feedback from Africa during this meeting. So, what are the actions of the Closed Road Commission? Is to review the accident and to update the regulation. Again, throughout the platform and throughout the World Accident Database, you will be able to fill the document where you have a fatal accident or where you have an injuries, where you think it's important for everybody as a community to understand what's happened. If the more data we get, the more solution we could provide you to say, okay, perhaps we should do that, perhaps we should do that, perhaps we should do that. We are doing also the technical content for the training. 80% of the training for the martial training has been made by the Closed Road Commission. The Closed Road Commission is doing a safety awareness program, such as the video. There is a new media video. You could have access also on the FIA network for the media in 2018, in order for the media to be informed of the risk of the rally, because media is also a problem. And also there is a spectator video you could download in many languages. We will issue a new rally safety guideline in 2018, which is in process to be done. We would like to be more fun than the one which is implemented today, and it will take a little time to achieve it. We hope to be ready at the beginning of next year. And of course, the Closed Road Commission is working at for the Rally Safety Task Force. In 2018, this is the fatalities compared to on the rally compared to the other circuits. In 2015, as you could see, there was 29 fatalities in rally and 40 altogether. And at this time, the President Todt said there are too many fatalities in rally or in closed road. We should do something to stop these things. It goes down a little bit, and the 2018 value are not so bad, but this value are, of course, not finished, and I hope it will not grow up, but it's up to us to make it as low as possible. Of course, it is not enough. We have all to work in a good direction for this number of fatalities to go down to zero. And in 2015, the President Todt himself decided to create this Rally Safety Task Force in order to help all the ASN who want to be helped to improve the safety, Okay, so something is missing. Could you come back to the other slide? Okay. So the objective of this Rally Safety Task Force, as I said, which has been created in 2015, is to gather FIA, expert of all the ASN, who knows all the safety, who are professionals in safety, and to create a group of experts who will be dedicated to come to the ASN who wants to be helped by this task force. The demand, of course, is really on demand of the ASN. So it means it's the ASN who will ask to have the help of the Rally Safety Task Force. So how to process? Before, of course, sorry, the machine is low. Okay, so before you should, through the Rally Safety Task Force email, make the request to the FIA. After that, within the request, a little bit like the task force development, we will study what is your wish, what is your demand, and find one or two experts who will be dedicated to the country. As you say, we will not send the South American people in Africa or send an Asian people to Europe. So it will be people who had the knowledge of the type of competition in the country where the ASN asked the help. We will review with the ASN the planning and all these things, and the expert will go directly to visit the ASN in order to see what sort of help they need. Okay, so of course the expert will come to visit the ASN. They will create an action plan, and the action plan will be worked together within the 3 years period with a dedicated ASN, and there will be a follow-up. Safety at all costs, en français ça veut dire sécurité à tout prix. As Jean Todt is saying this morning, this Rally Safety Task Force is completely free of charge, so it's completely taken in charge by the FIA. The expert, the travel, and the lodging will be fully paid by the FIA to do the expertise. And of course, the Rally Safety Task Force could come from the WRC to the grassroots, or from the grassroots to the WRC. So we had some demand from task force for WRC, like in Poland, we will discuss. As I said, the initial audit will be completely free of charge, taken on charge by the FIA. And after that, the action plan will be funded through the grant program and follow up with the grant program education. So where are we now? We did the first one in Cyprus, which has been done last year and which has been a great success. We are very happy about the venue of the task force. After that, Michel Mouton went to Lebanon in order to make the same process. We are going to Tanzania, and I will let the word to Tanzania to understand how they have received the fact that they will have the rally task force. So I will let the Tanzania people to say a few words about that. How do you receive the rally task force for you? It's a good thing. What is this?
I think it's an excellent exercise for us as well, because the accidents do happen throughout the world, not only in Africa, you know. The planning, safety planning, and having somebody to make recommendations towards not criticism, but progressing how to improve the safety of the rallies and everything, especially in Africa, like, as you said, in Uganda, there's the crowd, you can't control them. If you're physical there, you know exactly what the problems are. So we are extremely thankful that the safety task force will be coming next week to give us some improvement and to guide us exactly where to go on that.
And again, how you think that the FIA will push you to have the task force, or why you think all the African countries do not ask for the task force? Do you think there is something which is misunderstanding, or do you think that it's just a problem of communication?
I think mainly it's a problem of communication, because a lot of people, I think they don't know that you can ask for the task force to come there and improve their events. I think that is a major problem. We came to know because we're doing the safety planning program, and we came to understand that you can come and help us, and we took that help. So I think I suggest all the other African clubs to do the similar thing, as it is not being paid by them, it's being paid by FIA. So this is a good opportunity for them to improve the rallies and increase the safety factor of the rally.
And for your information, in Tanzania, we have been helped by the South African Federation, and Mr. Duplessis is coming with us within the Rally Safety Task Force in order to have the knowledge of all the African way of working. I think it's good to mix, I will say, a Western country knowledge and the knowledge of the Africa, and it's also our task, and your question was really good, and I have many questions like that. So we went, for example, to Dragster in America and say, why FIA people are coming to Dragster? They do not know anything about Dragster. But after that, we share our knowledge, and after that they say, yes, it was good that we came and we share our knowledge. The idea is not to say, okay, it should be like that, it should be like that, it should be like that. The idea is to share the experience and to say, okay, if you want to progress, perhaps you could do that, you could do that, you could do that. And your question was very good. Sorry.
Thank you so much. I want to appreciate the initiative. Of course, as Uganda, we really need it. But my major issue is about the experts that will be sent over to any other country, any country. I'll draw you to a training that was provided by one of the ATPs some time ago. This was in Uganda, not South Africa, but one of them. I don't want to be specific to the country. And in the training, he was talking about I think it was something to do with first aid and emergency evacuation. And the gentleman referred to somebody, one of the signs was somebody having a pink skin. Now, that gentleman was talking to people who look like him. There is no chance of him ever getting a pink skin. What am I talking about here? That the experts that must be sent or will be sent should have an understanding of the local environment. The situation in the northern hemisphere, here talking about Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda, is totally different from the situation in the southern hemisphere. So if we are going to talk about safety, for example, in Uganda, I would appreciate it so much if, for example, we got somebody from Kenya, because the environment doesn't change so much, and the recommendations that they will make will always have to, will be applicable. So that is my contribution. The choice of the experts is one that must be informed by the knowledge or understanding of the local environment. Thank you.
Thank you for your information, and it's exactly what we want to do, is to have two persons from the Rally Safety Task Force, one coming from a big country who had a very big knowledge, safety people who are dedicated to the safety matter, and one from the local environment, which are speaking the same language and see the same proposal. So this is a target, and again, it is not because we have not seen a rally in Uganda that we cannot share altogether this experience. And we will not be there, as Tanzania people said, we will not be there to say, you should do that, you should do that, you should do that, you should do that. We will be there to discuss with you and to have a current discussion altogether in order to see how you, as ESN, could improve yourself in your country, and to show you all the tools we have putting all over the world, which could be used or not used by you, but the way is to have a discussion, a connection. We will spend 1 week in Tanzania, and I hope after this week, we could all together create an action list where either FIA and Tanzania will be a winner in this. Each time we come to a rally as a Rally Safety Task Force, each time we learn something. So it's also a win and win process. Surrender.
Thank you. This is a very good initiative by the Development Task Force. I invite all our African countries to take advantage of these two things. The first one was said by Frederic earlier, that the Development Task Force is willing to come to your ASN and tell you what your problems are and identify at their cost, completely free of charge. They're willing to come to you and see what problems you have and how to make your systems better. And the second thing now Jack has just highlighted is that the Safety Task Force can come to your event. So I don't see why countries like Uganda, Kenya, the Safari Rally, the WRC project, because they are people that do all the way from regional rallying all the way to WRC. Why we can't take advantage of this? And they are offering this service completely free of charge. So we must please, as every ASN in Africa, take advantage. Thank you.
So it's good questions are coming, but perhaps we have out of time.
No, just saying that, then we'll have a roundtable, so with the Rally Safety Task Force sign, so then they will be able to come to you for any other question. Okay?
Unless it's a question which gather everybody. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. If you have another question which could be interesting for everybody.
Mine is just a quick point. I wouldn't like to go so much in the process. Since Tanzania, went down to Tanzania, and it will be the first weekend, the last week and the first weekend of September. Then the first weekend of September again, the next, we do have a national rally championship. Maybe I would advise the task force wouldn't request you for a training there and then, but for a case study, after Tanzania, you come down just to review, just like Steve Hardy did one time. It will help you.
As Frederic is saying, we could discuss about that when you come to the roundtable. why not you to come to the Tanzania rally? And I'm sure if you come to the Tanzania rally, we could share experience all together, or somebody of you as a neighborhood could come to the Tanzania rally. I think it could be also a possibility. But let's discuss that when we will be at the roundtable. Just for me to finish, we will go to Poland, because Poland was a WRC event and has been removed from WRC event, and they want to come back. So we will come to Poland as a Rally Safety Task Force. And finally, Michel Mouton is going to Indonesia with people from Asia Pacific in order to make the Rally Safety Task Force in Indonesia. It's not a lot compared to all the country, and we would like to understand, and the roundtable will be helpful after that. We would like to understand why, what is the problem which incurred, why you do not ask the task force to help you. So, quickly, the feedback from all the organizers we have been. I think you will be within the network. You could use the network and contact them, Cyprus and Lebanon, and discuss with them and see with them how was the week we have spent with them with the dedicated people. And everybody was really enthusiastic, and I think they have learned a lot, and they have done a lot with us. And we did not work as a FIA ISN, we work as a team. We were with the shirt of the Cyprus Rally, and we were as a worker. And in fact, Michel Mouton was standing as a safety delegate, and she did the job as a safety delegate as it was a normal rally, and she did the report following what we did all together in Cyprus and in Lebanon. So again, I think everybody was positive about this Rally Safety Task Force. Action list has been sent, has been done, and now it is up to Lebanon and to Cyprus to apply it within the 3 years time. And of course, we will still help them. We are still in discussion with them to see where they are. Next step. Next step. So imagine the number of countries there is in Africa, and only one, Tanzania, is doing the Rally Safety Task Force. So if you are interested, you just have to contact Natasha, who is there. Could you stand up, Natasha? Will come with me in Tanzania, and you just have to send a small email to rstf@fia.com. Thank you, and sorry to have been so long. Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Papadopoulos.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jacques. So, no problem. Stella will manage the slide. Give me the... No. Okay, perfect. Okay, fine. So if you want, you can stay on stage with pleasure. So now let's go to the next initiative and programs that have been launched recently because we structured really the Rally Marshal training program. And so Andrew will present you what we did finally in Geneva last year, and also where we are with the launch of the program and what are the next steps.
Thanks, Fred, and thank you, Jacques. As you can all see, Jacques is very passionate about safety, and specifically rally safety, and that's why he had all the time he needed for his presentation. Thank you. Right, the Rally Marshals Training Program. The Volunteers and Officials Commission saw the need to train our marshals to run safe events. Not only for the events, but also for their own safety, because the fatality is not only restricted, it's bad enough when it is a spectator or a driver, but also marshals and officials are also at risk of injury and death. So this training, through the initiative of the Volunteers and Officials Commission, was brought to our attention. We developed a training program which is going to be a global approach. We're going to make it mandatory. In other words, everybody, every ASN will be part of this training. So the reason for that is that there is need right across the globe for training of our officials. We've taken this initiative to a different level where the whole idea of this is to actually train your ASN trainers to train your marshals, right? So it's not about us coming out or an RTP coming out and training individual marshals. It's about training every ASN's trainers to train their marshals. So therefore it becomes continuous learning. The knowledge stays in your ASN. So therefore at any time when you get new marshals, the training continues. So what we're trying to do is have a consistency of training, because as we said, a marshal can go from Tanzania to Kenya and be a marshal and receive the same training as the one across the other country. So it is very, very important that. So what we've done now is actually established a cluster program. We have had all the RTPs that are accredited with the FIA come to Geneva. We did a training program with them, and they in turn, as RTPs, will train the regions as we set dates for them. So for example, Steve will do the African one on the program that has been developed by the FIA for the RTPs to deliver to the ASNs. So I encourage you to find your 2 trainers to send to these cluster training, and it may be 1 day, it may be 2 days, whatever it takes to make sure that you are very well equipped to go back to your ASNs and train your trainers and continuously train your training. Trainers is not just a one-off event. You've got to be consistent, you've got to upgrade, and you've got to continue with that area. So that is the program. I think this will start next year once the funding is established, and it'll be a cluster. As I said, it'll be a 2-day. We may look at putting it at the start of the regional conference next year in South Africa, but it'll happen. So don't worry about applying for marshals training in your grants, because you may have other more important things to do. I mean, not that marshals training is very important, but this will be done at the FIA cost. So there will be, we'll set a place and a date. We will subsidise the marshals to go to this event, and the FIA will pay the RTP for delivering it. So it's a very good initiative. It's an important initiative, and we've spent a lot of time to get to this point. And this will also continue to stewards, and race directors, and clerks of course, and scrutineers in time to come once we establish those programs. And again, they will be delivered in the regional context. Again, training trainers to continue the work in their own ASNs. Any questions on that? Ralph?
Andrew, will this be rally only or cover circuit as well?
This particular module is rally only. There will be others, as said, with stewards and circuits as well, but
Hill climb will be ready soon, and circuit marshal will be also on the pipe for non-permanent and permanent circuit, which are slightly different.
okay, thank you.
It's fine, yeah. Thank you very much. So I think it's a significant progress made regarding the training, because it was mentioned, the wish was really to unify the content and to deliver a consistent content to everybody, and with a clear process regarding the trainers, and then how to reach the right audience through the help, with the support of the regional training providers and the future trainers who will be trained. So thanks a lot for that. So now we're ready to move on to the more or less the last session. I will just come at the end for presenting you initiative on women motorsport very quickly, just because we have to be flexible with the timing. So the plan to finish at 12:30 with the presentation. Then we'll stay here 30 minutes for the round table, and we will go to the lunch at 1 o'clock instead of 12:30. So now please, Kate, Sport Ground Program. I think the clicker had a problem, but Sela is bringing it. Maybe the battery was not...
Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, hello everybody. For the first presentation, I'm wearing a slightly different hat, not my Sport Ground Program hat. I actually look after another program as well with a member of the safety department. So, this is the ASN reward program. And, So, the ASN reward program, it's not the Sport Ground Program, it's something different. It's something that we launched last year with the safety department. And under this program, ASNs can be awarded funding for mandating certain types of equipment and clothing in your non-FIA championships. So last year was the first year. 16 ASNs applied. Everybody from that 16 was awarded funding at some level. I want to emphasize for this program, it's really for ASNs at all levels. We had last year a very broad spread of ASNs that applied under this program, so it's really for everybody. So there are 10 categories within this program under which you can apply. So if you're interested in applying, and I really encourage you to have a look at this, look at the categories here, they're listed, the 10. Have a think about what is mandated in your national championships and see if you could qualify for some of this funding. The way it works is that if you mandate a certain category, you can receive €1,000 for each category, up to a total of 10,000. I don't think last year anybody got the full 10, but we had a few 9s and 8s, so have a look. Oops, that's a bit too keen. So the benefits of this, it increases the safety of drivers worldwide. It's so important. Also at the grassroots level, often the grassroots level, it can be harder to improve safety, but this really focuses on the lower levels, on the grassroots level of motorsport. And of course, it provides your ASN with extra revenue. Now, the funding that we provide has to be used on any safety-related project. This can cover a really broad range. We've had projects like an ASN producing a leaflet or short video for their drivers about how to use the equipment, a training program for officials. One country used it to try and introduce a camera system for karting. Think about the fuel tanks. There's no reason why you cannot use this funding to purchase the fuel tanks. Maybe some of you can group together, make your applications at the same time, talk to each other, and approach the supplier collectively, you know, try to get a discount. It's definitely worth thinking about. Okay, so just a very quick look at the timing of this. September, October is applications time. It's deliberately after the grants close, after the sport grants close. We try to inform ASNs in December of the outcomes. It's a retrospective thing, so it's what did you do in 2018. Rewarded ASNs use the funding for a range of safety projects, as I mentioned, and also one of the requirements of the program is that ASNs that are successful must provide data for the World Accident Database. This is really important. This is really an area where the safety department is trying to increase the number of ASNs that provide this information, so it is a requirement. So for 2018, the guidelines will be the same as last year. The guidelines are available on the FIA website. We're going to send an email to all the ASN presidents and the operational contacts early in September with some more information. We open on the 17th of September and close on the 19th of October. It's short, but it's quite a straightforward, simple applications process. Unlike the sport grants where you have to provide a lot of written information, descriptions, etc., for this program, it's kind of more of a yes or no. Either you mandate a certain piece of equipment or you don't. So it's an easy applications process. The application form, it's an editable PDF. It's available on the FIA website. So as I mentioned, we provide confirmation in December of whether you've been successful. The person I work with in safety, it's Nuno Costa. So if you have any questions, email myself or him, or you can come and talk to me on the roundtables or any time during this Congress if you want some more information. This is just a photo of the guys in Indonesia were awarded, and they chose to do a karting safety program with the funding. And here's the link for the website. Thank you.
So finally, thank all the speakers for your various presentations. Finally, I will just come to the end for presenting you a new Women in Motorsport project and initiative that we launched last year. This program, so I have this. Oh yes, sorry, I'm just lost with that. Sorry, yeah, you're right. No, grant is very important. So I mixed this thing because we changed the order yesterday. So yes, grant program, please Kate again. Sorry for the confusion.
Okay, so now I'm with my sport grants hat, as usual. So I'm just going to take you through brief details on the program. Obviously, it's a very crucial time in the applications at the moment. We extended the applications period for Africa to give you the opportunity to talk to us about your ideas for projects. So you have until early next week. So just to give you an overview of the distribution of grants since we started the Sport Grant Program in 2015, 40 grants for this region, and you can see the total there. So overall, we've awarded just over 11 million of funding, benefiting 105 countries. So just a brief look at some regional examples which President Todd touched on in his opening speech. Rwanda, very exciting, doing this online championship whereby people can be encouraged into motorsport through gaming. Can be the top level people, those people who perform the best, can be issued with what's called a virtual license. Then it's up to the ASN to do some training and to convert that virtual license to a real license. So it's a really great way, really interesting way to get people into motorsport. Madagascar, who I'm pleased to see have arrived now. Hello. Training for scrutineering this year, supported by Motorsport South Africa as RTP. This South Africa cluster, the training on the identification of the fake equipment, which will be supported by somebody from the FIA Safety Department, I think that's so important. I think that's going to be a fantastic program. As we all know, Tanzania doing rally safety, and we'll have the visit of Jacques next week. Uganda have purchased timing equipment and had their officials trained in how to use it, and Zambia have run a karting slalom program. So I just want to mention a few really key, really important points about your grant applications for this year. Most of you obviously have not yet made your applications because you waited for the Congress, waited to talk to us. So I really want you to think about developing proposals for projects that will really contribute to the development of motorsport in your country. So to encourage the organization of more events, to encourage participation. Also think whether your project idea is realistic, whether it fits with your infrastructure, with the number of competitors you have, with the number of officials you have. That's so, so important. If you're at an early stage or even a medium stage of development, we strongly encourage you to work with one of the RTPs, and Steve from Motorsport South Africa is here for you to speak with. It's very important when you write your grant application that you explain to us very specifically what you plan to do, how you will identify if the project is successful. And we do this through SMART objectives. So you will find, when you look at the application for this year, we have introduced a bunch of new questions trying to get you to pinpoint not just what you're going to do, but exactly what you're going to do. What are you aiming for? What are the targets? What's the impact on your organization? What's the time frame? What's the relevance? So tomorrow we will be running a workshop in the morning to take you through our expectations for the grant applications, to give you opportunities to speak with all of our experts about your specific ideas. So really please come to that workshop with a good idea in your head of what you want to do. I want to talk just briefly about cluster programs. Some of you have already run successful clusters. I really encourage you to think about doing that for a grant application this year. Think about who are your neighbors, who are the ASNs in the region who are at a similar level to you. Can you work with them? It's a great idea. It's good economies of scale, but also it's a great way to build relationships with your neighbors with a view to maybe in 2-3 years' time organizing a small championship or something like this. So if you decide to get together in a cluster, come and talk to us. If you're going to be in a cluster, you need to work with an RTP. The maximum grant for a cluster, it's a bit more than the maximum for an individual, but we expect significant economies of scale, but it's something you can talk to us about. If you want to make a cluster, one of the ASNs in the cluster needs to take charge, needs to be the lead. It's the one that works with the FIA, works with the other ASNs, does the coordination, works with the RTP, submits the application. So, oops, I lost one. So, applications, as I mentioned, will close on the 28th of August at 5 o'clock Geneva time. I just want to invite my colleague Madeleine onto the stage. Madeleine works with me. Some of you have already met her. Some of you have met her in person, some of you have met her on email, so I'd like to introduce you to her. Both of us are available to speak to for the rest of the Congress. Please come and talk to us about the grants, about your ideas. We will do our very best to help you, and we will be running the workshop together tomorrow. I don't know if you want to say a couple of words or say hello.
Hello, everyone. So as Kate introduced me, my name is Madeline Cardenas. I'm the Grants and Accreditation Coordinator. I have been working with the FIA since October 2017. I've spoken to many of you by email, but for the most of you, I haven't met yet, and I'm very pleased for this opportunity to meet you in person. Please don't hesitate to come and speak to us regarding the ongoing applications, in case you have any questions regarding any assessments or any questions at all related to the Sport Grant program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So thank you for your time. Thanks for listening. And we're here to give you advice, whatever you need. Thanks.
So thank you, everybody. So I'm come back again for the Women Motorsport. It was very exciting to speak with you about this program. It's at the moment it's a European program, but why I decided to present it to you today is because this program is also eligible for you if you want to implement it through the Sport Grant program under the social responsibilities pillar, because it's a completely tailor-made program that it's easy to implement in your respective country if you want to launch some initiative for attracting young girls in motorsport and attracting a new audience. So after having said that, so I think we're ready for starting with the presentation. The clicker now is here, but we'll try if it works or not, because I have few videos to show you. First of all, I would like to say that it was the first time for FIA to apply for a European Commission program, and because a lot of funds are available through Erasmus+ program, and mainly for encouraging the gender equity. And when we presented, so it was we worked very hard with Michèle Mouton, so with the Women in Motorsport president during many years, and to identify what is the best format, what is the easiest format, and the most important thing was to say we wanted to have funny things, because we need to have some entertainment. We have to include the young generation. It's a different audience. Then when they come, they need to have fun. They need to don't be afraid of the material, of the cart. Because if you bring new people, like I did it with my daughter, she never experienced motorsport before. So I said to Mathilde, come, and we will try. And then I heard her feedback, and she said, oh, Mom, I would be very pleased to start motorsport. And then I said, oh my God, I'm crazy, because it's a hard sport. But it's just to let you know that when you have never had the chance to touch motorsport, starting with such a concept, we think it's the right approach. And you will understand better when you will see the video, and you will have a chance to hear the feedback from the different girls who had never been in motorsport, never been involved in motorsport at all. And they started to have some, and because we said motorsport needs to come to them. And so we launched a very big campaign, a social media campaign, because when we want to reach a young audience, you need to think about your communication plan. Because if you want to touch your target age, you need to be really relevant in your communication message. So, very quickly, and before this Girls on Track, I just wanted to highlight the fact that we launched a very big campaign to all ASNs a few years ago, in order that you as an ASN nominate someone who could be the representative, the Women Motorsport representative and coordinator in your country, and it's the main point of contact for us for implementing the Women Motorsport program. For example, if in Mozambique, okay, if you have someone as a national representative, then this person will receive all information, all details on programs that we are developing with the Women Motorsport Commission. Also, we have an international seminar every 4 years. And this person will be invited to attend. And we work in close collaboration for developing the Women Motorsport Initiative. We have an ISN toolkit. This toolkit was in your welcome pack, so I invite you to have a look. This toolkit contains exactly recommendation on each of the main priorities we identified at the last seminar in 2016 in Lisbon. If you need extra copy, please come to me, send me an email, because I'm manager of this commission, and we'll be very pleased to send you the document. So now you can see we only have 8 countries from this region who appointed someone for doing as a Women Motorsport National Representative. So my objective is really to achieve 50% by 2020. It means it's easy. Send me an email or to my colleague, and then you just nominate the person, say, oh, this person will be the women's representative in my ISN. It can be a man. It's not a problem. We have 2 or 3 men who are doing the job, because in this male world, we need your support for encouraging the women to come. So the next seminar will be in Iceland in 2020, in conjunction with the European Congress. So the Girls on Track, that's the program that I explained you. It's a 2-year program. So we started in 2018. We have our events running right now. And we have 8 partners. And each partners have started to organize their national event. So during the first year, this program is done for the girls aged from 13 to 18. And 18 is the national events. And in 19, all of the 3 best girls will be invited to take part to the big final, big European final, that will be held in Le Mans. What I would like to do in the future is to have the Africa Girls on Track. I would like to have the Asia Pacific Girls on Track. And then we take all of the best girls and we put all of them, the winning girls, in the biggest final worldwide. Now it's a European project, but that's the plan. And this project is supported by the Innovation Fund. It's a co-funded program with some fund coming from Erasmus+, so a European Commission, but also from FIA and other partners that we have. So just would like to launch the video. This video is also free for you. It's available through the networks and the FIA.com. So invite Sela to launch the video. Just hope it works. No image? Ah, okay. The light, could you please reduce the light? And more sound? So that's the promotional video that we produced for encouraging the partners and the ISN to join the program. So if we are back now to the presentation. So that's the list of countries which house us. And we have 1 academic partners because we wanted to do at the same time a sociological study to get information regarding why now the women or the girls don't compete in motorsports, because we have less than 5% in the world of the women's licensed drivers. So that's something we are working very hard, and thanks to this educational program, we think that we can make the difference. So then that's the key objectives. This presentation will be available, and you will have, I can send it to you by email, but through the networks, you will have everything. So behind of this, you know, we want to detect some future talents, and the best girls will be invited to Le Mans, as I mentioned, and among the 24 girls, we will select the best 6 girls and invite them to take part to some drivers training program. Because the idea is to give them the chance to practice, to give the chance to give the flavor of motorsport, and maybe to continue their career. We have very well-known people as ambassadors, so Michel, Tom Christensen, who is now the FIA Drivers Commission President, Susie Wolf, and Tatiana Calderon, who is a testing driver in Formula One, and maybe, we hope so, but in 1-2 years, you may see her name as a new, and maybe the first real FIA Formula One driver. The sport format is a karting slalom, so easy, very accessible, and we do one practice run, 2 times run, and then a motivation interview, because we need to identify also the girls who would be interested to continue in motorsport. That's it. I think we have a second video ready. This video is the video that we received for Finland. The event was held a few weeks ago, and so to give you the chance to have the feedback and the feeling on the different countries, how, what's the feeling of the girls who take part to our events.
Jongens kunnen goed karten, maar meiden kunnen het ook. Het is niet alleen de jongens. En het is echt een mannenwereld. En dat de vrouwen er ook tussen kunnen komen. Ik vond het een hele leuke ervaring. Ik wilde ook al wel een hele lange tijd karten. En toen begon mijn moeder over dat ze het gevonden had op internet. En toen leek het me direct heel erg leuk om te doen.
The ratio of enthusiasm is very, very high. So that's for us a very good message too. Yeah. We are happy to see that. That's what we wanted out of this project.
So it was in Holland, sorry, not in Finland. I mixed this because the Finland was just held last weekend, and we had 235 girls during the day. So it means that with this format, we can have and reach a large audience, and having more than 200 girls for one day, and you can have like 500 in 2 days if you want. So that's why we think that there is a huge potential of this program, and we are now working with Susie Wolf, because the idea is that, you know, Susie launched a program for the girls aged from 8 to 12, and now we want to cover, if we have a joint concept all together, then we'll be able to cover from the girls aged from 8 to 18. So that's something we are developing now with Susie. And also our strong wish is that this new concept can be organized in a line of FIA major events, for example, before the Formula E events, before the Formula One. So that's our goal, and so we are working quite hard now for continuing to promote this program. Thank you very much for your attention. Just I would like that we applaud the speakers of this session. My feeling is that if we continue with Meet the Family, maybe it will be a bit long. So I think it's good, Sonia, just maybe to go to the lunch now because it's 12:45, and then come back, please, at 2 o'clock precisely, and we can start the afternoon with 30 minutes of the Meet the FIA family and continue our program. So the family picture as well will be done before starting the afternoon session. So Tracy will coordinate the family picture. So if you want to be in the picture, you have to be on time. So see you later and enjoy the lunch. Thank you very much. So 2 o'clock here, please. Thank you. The lunch is at the breakfast restaurant, huh? Breakfast restaurant.